On today's show, we find out what we think of all the Trey Lance talk. We'll also get into how we feel about Klint Kubiak being hired onto the staff. Remember, as always, you can listen to the episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts from. You're inside the Johnny Dell Football Academy. Hello, Niner faithful. Welcome to the Johnny Dell Football Academy podcast on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game. You may sense my excitement as I am not only joined by the infamous Johnny Dell, but also, man, I am pumped to bring on today WayneBreezie. What is up, man?
What's going on, fellas? How you doing, Adam, Johnny?
Man, it is the off season, but we are on today, baby.
That's what I'm talking about. We still always stay on, never off.
Never off. And man, it is great to have you on the show. I've been wanting to have you on my show, on my channel for a couple months. It just always seemed like I could never get the ball rolling on a podcast here to do this kind of format. And Adam helped me out with that. And I told him when we started, I said, when the off season hits and we're going to start bringing some people on, one of the first people I want to bring on is WayneBreezie, because he's been the man. He's had me on his channel a bunch. And man, I love what you're doing. You've been doing a lot of shorts recently. Kind of tell us what that's all about.
So I'm learning how to get into the quick editing video type thing, and I'm actually having too much fun doing it. So it's like I'm not gonna stop. I'm just gonna keep doing this. It's like I sit with my camera. I got two phones. I'm like bam, 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 and then I get to the editing, and I'm like, wait a minute, I think I can get pretty good at this. So I'm just gonna keep going at it. But the shorts to me is where it's at. I know what YouTube is doing, and if you guys are creating content, you want to get into these shorts, man. It's they're competing, and their competition is TikTok and Instagram Reels, and these shorts are the way to go. So if you're on YouTube and you guys are creating these content, make sure you start working on these shorts, man.
It's funny you say that. We just created a TikTok, and I have to get better at using some of the clips and putting that on there. And the idea is to take that and make the YouTube short. We haven't gotten there yet. We're a baby show. We've only been going since January, so this is our second month, but we are on that for sure.
Trust me. And once you get into the process, so what happened was I was like, oh man, I don't know how to do this. I don't like, how do they do this? And it's like, you ever just get on your phone and you just start scrolling, you watch one, it's just one, just watch one. Next thing you know, you go up and then you go up and you're like, oh my gosh, like 40 shorts later, 40 reels later, you're like, what the heck happened? That's what it is. That's what happens. And so when you get into the process of creating it, it's almost like, this is all I had to do. You know what I'm saying? And Johnny, I feel like your editing, we talked about this, is like bar none, right? And so I'm watching your edits, I'm listening to your voice, you put it in your computer, you do a lot of stuff behind the scenes. I'm like, Johnny, I don't know how you do it. I can never do a 30-minute show edited because I would lose my mind. But 30 seconds, your boy Breeze's on
it. Your boy's on it.
Yeah. And we talked about that a little bit at the Senior Bowl. For those that don't know, both Wayne and I went down to the Senior Bowl. We had a great time together. We had never met in person.
No.
And so it was a lot of fun. I was there. I got there really early. Those of you who watched my channel have kind of heard my story about sitting in the parking lot. I'm like, man, where am I supposed to go? And I was texting Wayne. I'm like, Wayne, where am I supposed to go, man?
Like my third or fourth day, yo. I done figured it out. I'm not getting here this early. I already know what this is about. Like, first day I was there, butt crack of dawn, like early in the morning. Like, I'm gonna get a seat. Walked in there was plenty of seats. I'm like, okay. Johnny was texting me. He was like, I think I was probably asleep when you first texted me. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm on my way. Then I probably fell asleep again. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm really there. I'm on my way. I walk into the joint. I'm like, dude, did you have like super VIP passes, bro? You got your credentials? Because you told me where you were. And I'm like, isn't that on the other side where I think the NFL execs? I'm like, Johnny Dell is the man. I'm like, I got to get my credentials up. Like,
he didn't know what was going on. His story is like not that at all.
Listen, but I didn't realize he told me he was in a section, so he was just further down, and I didn't know you can go that far down. I thought he was totally on the other side of the stadium, and so we finally met up. He was looking for me, and I was looking for him, and we finally caught each other. And next after that, it was like a match made in heaven. It was just perfect. Then football and food. That's our story. It was football and food. I got homesick, so I left a little early. Johnny went to the game, and I know you had a good time. I'm so mad I couldn't go to that breakfast. Please tell us how great that breakfast was.
The breakfast, it was good. So the breakfast is about. I'm going to rewind just a second here, because I'm texting him where I'm at. I said I'm in section 128, and I'm sitting right at the back. And he came in from the other side of the stadium. Okay, they told everybody go in gate 1. Well, gate 1 is in the middle of the stadium, lengthwise. Okay, so you can go. And you could go from end zone to end zone.
Right.
So we're literally probably 60 yards from each other. So that's why we couldn't find each other. And so he tells me where he's at. So I get up where I am. I go down, and I'm like, dude, I don't see you. He's like, I'm right by the front. And I'm looking down by the front exactly where he told me. He's like, I'm on the 35-yard line. And I look down, and I see this guy who I think he was a photographer for the NFL or something.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
He is the goofiest looking. He's like a 6'2", super skinny white guy with massive underbite. Like he's sitting there, like he's looking around, the goofiest looking dude. And because Wayne's like, I'm right in the front, I'm wearing red, and that's the only guy in red I saw. And I'm going, surely. I know people can look different on camera, but there is no way. There is no way he looks that different. And I'm like, dude, I can't see you. I see some goofy guy with a camera, and then I see him looking around, and I was like, there he is. There he is. So I went down, we found him. We hung out there. We watched the practices. I was leaning on him to help me catch up on some of the time I missed when we were there. But then that night we went out to one of the best restaurants on the Gulf Coast. It is a place called the Original Oyster House, and that's when I found out that Wayne is a true shrimp connoisseur. I
had all types of shrimp. I had shrimp. I had the fried shrimp, the baked shrimp, the boiled shrimp, broiled shrimp. I had shrimp. I was bubble gum that day.
I was waiting for someone. Come on, guys. Someone had to say it.
He literally he told the waitress, he goes, I feel like Forrest Gump over here. Okay, I'm just getting all shrimp. And so, we are in Alabama, so we went there, and then I asked him that night. I said, all right, there's nothing to do tomorrow. We're definitely gonna have to catch up for some food tomorrow afternoon. Have you ever had, because he goes, well, what's Alabama known for food wise? I said seafood and barbecue. There's a lot of the comfort foods, fried chicken, chicken and dumplings, that kind of stuff. Chicken waffles is big here. But I was like, really the biggest thing is seafood and barbecue. And I said, have you ever had Southern barbecue? He goes, no, man, I never had Southern barbecue. I said, all right, I'm going to find someplace. So I reached out. From Alabama, I know several people from Mobile. I reached out and I said, where is the best barbecue place in Mobile? They told me we went to a place called the Meat Boss. If a name like the Meat Boss, it's got to be good. So we go to the Meat Boss. Man, it lived up to its reputation. It was good. We met the owner. She was super nice. Came in, talked to us for 20 minutes. He got to try bacon candy for the first time. Didn't even know that was a thing. In case you're from the north and you don't. Oh, rib candy. Sorry, rib candy. I don't know why I said bacon. Well, pig. It's a part of a pig. Same thing. But yeah, rib candy. If you've never been in the South, or if you're from the North, you've never eat. You're going, what is rib candy? So they take ribs. They take the ends pieces off of ribs. Okay, and they cook them down in brown sugar. And and a little bit of molasses, and they cook it down in that, and then they top it off with some honey and cook it down even a little bit more. And so it gives you this like sweet, salty, savory, just smoky. It's smoky. I mean, it is everything. It is it's your doctor's nightmare, but it was so good. He got to try Kaneka's sausage.
It's
Yeah.
worth the trip to the doctors. Trust me.
He got to try Kaneka sausage. She found out he was there. Alabama is famous for its specific kind of sausage. It is the Kaneka Sausage Company, is from Kaneka, Alabama. And so she gave him some smoked sausage and then was telling him all about the breakfast. Well, he wasn't able to make the breakfast, so that I had what's called the hog. They take their it's bacon, ham, smoked sausage, I think some pulled pork shoulder, all wrapped up and rolled up in a fresh made pancake. So it's everything in there. Again, I did not eat the whole thing.
Right there.
Bro, I've been hitting the elliptical every night since then to try and recover from the Senior Bowl, but it was I could not finish the whole thing. So
I gained 3 pounds from the Senior Bowl. Bro.
At least
and it had to be just those 2 nights, because the seafood night was cool, but that barbecue, remember I went up and bought more, and it was so good, and I kept saying, I'm not going to eat this. I'm not going to eat it. Yo, I brought them rib candies home and I heated them up. My wife smelled them and I didn't even get a chance. I gave her a taste and I had to eat something else. She ate them. I was like, come on, man. But the lady gave me her number, and I'm going to be ordering food for Thanksgiving this upcoming year from the Meat Boss. Yes.
Yeah. The Meat Boss does do, they ship 2-day shipping smoked turkees. So yeah, I mean, they're not sponsoring the show,
they are not.
They are not.
But
you know who is sponsoring the show, and I was so thankful for on my trip down to the Senior Bowl, is Manscaped. And you can get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com right now if you use promo code JD49. And I was able to take everything I needed to the Senior Bowl to stay well groomed and smelling nice. I mean, when you're there and it's Alabama and it can get warm even in the winter. Now, by the time Wayne left, he was leaving. The weather had just turned, but it was warm there at the Senior Bowl. But man, they got you covered with everything. I had the beard hedger down there. I had my lawnmower. I had the weed whacker nose and ear hair trimmer. I had their premium deodorant, premium body wash, premium shampoo. They have made me a believer. I wasn't sure about the body wash and the shampoo. Is it really ultra premium? Everybody says that. Everybody puts these things out there like their product is just the greatest thing in the world. Theirs really is. They sent me a number of bottles to try out. I gave some to some friends of mine because I just thought, well, I'm not gonna, if I don't like this, I don't want all these extra bottles. So I gave some to some friends of mine. They have told me, they're like, I am getting some when I run out, but they're worried they're never going to run out because it lasts forever. But when we're talking about this body wash, it is ultra premium. It's got a cologne quality scent. It's aluminum free. It's paraben free. It's infused with minerals and sea salts to help exfoliate and keep your skin fresh. It has aloe in it to keep everything silky smooth and soft. Wayne knows all about this. Sometimes if you're in a dry climate, you might get a little ashy, and you don't want that happening. And Manscaped will help keep that from happening. So they have everything you need. You can get all your male grooming needs met with manscaped.com. Again, promo code JD49. So I'll turn it over to you, Adam. You're going to be, you got some questions that are just burning a hole in you.
So definitely remember the code though, JD49 for sure. Always appreciate that for that 20% off. But WayneBreezie. So one of the first things that I want to ask you as we get into some Niner topics, I want to ask you how you actually got started, what made you start your channel, and that kind of thing. Walk us through that, because I'm curious, and I'm sure a lot of us are as well.
All right, so this all started, oh man, probably, I want to say around 2017, yeah, I want to say around there. I was writing for a Facebook group. I don't want to make mention of their names, but okay, this had to be before 2017. I'm lying. This had to be back around Colin Kaepernick when he took the knee.
Okay.
Just to give you a sense of how I kind of got into.
Okay,
everything.
gotcha.
I was writing then on that Facebook group, and I remember he took the knee, and then I said, you know what? I stand with Colin Kaepernick on that. I think I put that out there, and then I got these messages, and it was just they kicked me out. Make a long story short. So then I kind of got down. I'm like, dang, 49er fans are like this. Like, you know what I mean? Like I can't talk about what I believe in. And
Right.
it's not like I said anything to be offensive. It just offended somebody. It defended one of the people in the group or whatever. So got out of that. I was on Twitter and I was just tweeting like my normal self. And then NY to the Bay, his name is Mike as well. He sent me a direct message and he says, listen, man, so some years had went by and he sent me a direct message. He says, listen, I really love what your content. I love your energy. He was like, I would love for you to be a part of Nothing But Niners. And I'm like, cool. I was a little skeptical at first because the last time I was in the Niners group, I got kicked out and I was, had to kind of feel it out. So
Sure.
he invited me there. I met Mike, I met Nick, I met Tony, and some of the other guys that they have with the 49ers Hive. And I started kind of like writing for them. And then I was like, I don't really want to write. I want to be on the camera. I felt like I could be more myself, my personality on camera. And they invited me on the show. And after they invited me on the show, they allowed me to start doing like my own shows in the off season, come around the draft and things like that. So shout out to Mike and Nick. And then from there, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to create my own lane and kind of do my own thing, but still be with you guys. You know what I'm saying? And they were cool. They were super supportive. And then a good friend of mine that I met at the Pick of the Stick game at the Candlestick Park when Navarro Bowman got the stick, him and I got together and we created a show called Nitty Gritty Niners. And so we called it that because we wanted to always just remain authentic on how we talk about the Niners. We didn't like sugarcoat anything. It was more like, this is what we saw. We're going to talk about it. I don't care if you like it or not. It was kind of like that. And it still is to this day. And so then I got some more people in there like Peachy. Now I have Mose and Fair. They're the Nitty Gritty Niners Talk crew. And then I wanted to be on camera more. So I just decided to create the WayneBreezie show, which is most recent. And everything is kind of like, taking off from there. So now I do a daily show right now in the off season. We're Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but during the regular season, it's every day, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then I do specific shows to cater to other people in their schedules to have them on as guests. And so YouTube is kind of like where I was particularly trying to grow the brand. And that Kansas City game this past season, someone came in, they infiltrated, they hacked my original account. So that week, you want to talk about being down and feeling defeated. The channel had just got to like 5,000 subscribers and it was really taking off, and YouTube was doing its due diligence and recommending and things like that. And then I get hacked. And I thought about just hanging it up like for a minute. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't even want to do it anymore. Like I did, but it was like, dang, like it can go like in a snap of an eye. And so going back and forth with YouTube, going back and forth with Google, Google owns YouTube. So good luck getting in touch or contact. And I could never speak to anybody. It was just like, I just want to talk to somebody. I promise you not. I don't know how many people out here are believers, but God told me to click on a button like months later. And I clicked on this button and I had already started my new channel. And I couldn't get the channel monetized because the other channel was blocking it. All my information was on that channel and Google wasn't responding. And there was a little button at the top tab, like in the YouTube, that like was going to be like some type of instant messenger. I promise you it was never there before. And God was like, click on that button. So I did. And I started talking and I got somebody to talk to me via message. And that messenger I explained everything that happened. They said, unfortunately, I can't get you your old channel back. But what I'm going to do is try to get you monetized on your new channel. And ever since that day, I mean, I've been so grateful for that particular person. I'm not going to name her name, but she has no idea like what I was going through because I had decided to do it full time. So I left the teaching field and it was really my income coming in and subsidizing. Of course, I do other things to try to make ends meet, but my wife believed in me, my family believed in me. And when I got hacked, man, I'm telling you, I called the schools back. I was like, listen, I'll be there on Monday because I really felt defeated. But thanks to that particular YouTube employee, she was on it, and don't get it twisted. They gave me the runaround too. Like, she was on it, and then they sent me to somebody else. They sent me to another specialist. And I'm like, God, is this gonna happen? And I kept saying, if it's meant, it will happen. And then all of a sudden, it just all clicked, and then monetization came back, and then I felt like a victor. And so yeah, man, that's the story behind the whole WayneBreezie, the Wayne
Wow.
channel. And in it, I tried to remain as energetic as possible because that's who I am, and I owe it all to him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I wouldn't even be here if because, like I said, it was gone, and
Yeah.
he allowed it to come back. And so, like I said, if you're a believer out there, you understand what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I mean.
Yeah. I remember when your channel got hacked. I felt horrible for you. We had just met a few weeks before that. Want to say it hadn't been very long, and I had been on your channel a couple times, I think, by that point. And then I saw it on Twitter was where I first saw it. You put it out there, and I mean, knowing how hard it is to build that audience and knowing how much work you put in, people don't always realize how much work goes in. Even if you're, like we talked a little bit about, what I do on my side with all the editing and everything. Even when you're doing a live show
Mhm.
or things on there it's not an hour on camera kind of thing. You are constantly engaging, you're constantly reading everything that's out there, you're watching every press conference, you're watching everything that's going on, because you need to stay up to date and informed on everything that is going on to be a voice into this community. And so knowing how the mountain of work and the time and years you had put in to build that audience, and then seeing it just vanish, like you said, just instantly. Um and and people also don't understand some, because sometimes, like, well, you just, once you get your subscribers back and you get monetized, shouldn't be that big of a deal. Well, the way YouTube works is that once you reach the benchmark of being monetized, you have to go through a month of them putting ads on your stuff, where they are taking 100% of the income off of that before you see a penny. Okay. So it's not like, yeah, well, you could just start up another channel and you'll get those subscribers instantly and you'll meet the monetization. No, this is going to be at least a month-long process. And where Wayne, it was, like you said, you're just jumping off that ledge. I couldn't even imagine. I mean, like,
It was
I,
it was tough.
I 100% understand why you'd say I don't even want to do this again, because of the mountain of effort it would take just to get back to zero.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
man, I really applaud you sticking through this and continuing to be a great voice in our community, because you are a fantastic voice in our community. And it was like he said, meeting him at the Senior Bowl, it was like I met somebody who I had been friends with for 10
That's
years.
that's
I mean,
exactly what it was. That's
we
exactly
we
what it was.
click so fast. So, Wayne is a wonderful person. If you are not subscribed to his channel, you need to subscribe to his channel. Like, pause the video, go subscribe to his channel,
Thank you.
come back, like, you support him and what he's doing. And this is what I told him, just at sitting at dinner. I'm like, this is why people watch your show, because of you, because you are just so fun to watch, so fun to engage with, so fun to have you speaking into this space. So, man, just so glad you have your channel and everything. And I know Adam's got a burning question for you about something
I'm
you put
ready.
out. You put out a short today, and so Adam's going to get into that a little bit.
Let's
Yeah,
do it.
just take us through your short from today. We want to get into some Niner talk now. So let's just get into it. Um, how do we feel about the two main things that we wanted to talk about was Klint Kubiak and then Trey Lance talking about, that whole thing with arm fatigue. We kind of
Yeah.
laughed it off. I remember, now I'm going to tell you a story. I remember that Colin Cowherd, when the story broke, that he was not keen on Trey Lance, just from the beginning of us trading down of this, and this guy hasn't played, and now he's got arm fatigue. I'm hearing that he really can't throw. And then, of course, in preseason, he threw it all over the yard and threw it to Debo 50 yards downfield, whatever. And I'm like, oh, Colin Cowherd. And now I don't know. Like, what do we think here, guys?
Yeah. Interesting, right? And so as I'm listening to Trey Lance, the first thing that popped up in my mind when I heard him say what he said was, oh, snap. He just admitted that it was arm fatigue. And months ago, we were all like, there's no way he's arm fatigued because he's in practice, he's throwing. And you know why? It's because I didn't believe it. Why? Because I probably didn't understand what the heck that meant. I'm like, his arm's not tired. He just practiced. What are you talking about?
Plus, he's a baby. Well, babies aren't
How can
tired.
his arm be tired? It should rejuvenate. Like animanium should be growing in his arm after he throws and heal right there. Like, right? So I think that was me. That was me. I'll take it. Mike Silver came out and he was the first to break the news. Colin Cowherd went out, and I think Colin Cowherd has other issues with Trey Lance, but obviously anything negative on Trey Lance, he's definitely going to put his stamp on it. But it was more like I didn't want to believe it, and I didn't believe it. And so when I heard it, I was in such shock for him admitting what he said was, I had to do this, I had to throw a lot, and my arm was dead. That's what he said. That was the clip that I posted because I know on Twitter, I posted that he said it had a dead arm, or his arm was dead due to him coming in his rookie season and having to throw blah, 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 whatever. Right. And so I didn't add a lot of context on Twitter, but just read this, whatever. Anyway, that's a whole nother monster. Hope you didn't get into that because then there was some back and forth jargon going on with myself and my friend Jesse. So at the end of the day, I put the short out because I wanted people to hear exactly what he said. And he admitted to his arm being tired. And then he definitely explained it. And then it made sense. It added clarity to everything because me personally, now, this was the first Senior Bowl that I've ever gone to. I haven't gone to any quarterback camps. I haven't been to the NFL Combine yet. I'm supposed to be there this year, but I don't know the rigors of the quarterbacks coming out of college and what they have to do. I just know when they come into the camp, they better be ready to throw. And so for this young kid to come in here having a COVID year off, he had to prepare extra. So it wasn't like he went through a senior, it's not a senior season, but his last season playing football, he went through a more rigorous throwing 3 times a day, every day of the week type of rigor program to make sure that he could compete so that he can get drafted. And so I didn't realize that. And now I'm coming out saying, dang, this kid was tired. Like, you know what I mean? On top of that, he got injured. Right. And so, yeah, so I'm not bagging on Trey because I'm rooting for the guy. I put out that the 49ers should draft Trey Lance over any one of those quarterbacks that they were going to get because of I believe in his ceiling. I think I believe in his ability to be able to do something that we've never seen before with the San Francisco 49ers. We saw Steve Young. We saw Joe Montana. We saw Jeff Garcia do a little something. We saw Alex Smith move a little bit, but we haven't had a Trey Lance, and I don't think the league has seen it either. They think he's Lamar Jackson. They think he's Josh Allen. They think he's this quarterback. No. I actually think, and you guys can correct me, I think he's smarter than all of those quarterbacks that I just mentioned, except for the 49er ones, like the newer ones, the young ones. I think his brain, the way he processes the game is a lot smarter. That's why you saw Trey Lance make a mistake and then come back and be able to quickly correct it. Not everybody can do that. That's a gift. That's a processing gift. And I think that's what he has. Now his mechanics and all that other stuff, that's going to come with reps. And that's what I need the faithful to find a way and be patient. I know we saw Brock Purdy play very well, and he came in and ran this system like he knew it like the back of his hand. That's because he did know it like the back of his hand. It was something that he was comfortable running. It was exactly how he played in college. This is not how Trey Lance played in college. It's totally different. If Trey Lance,
two things.
Yes.
Two things, Breezie. Now here, I'm going to come on the argument side now.
Please do.
Now, you're saying that the decision-making and all that. Now, Brock Purdy went undefeated in all games that he's completed so far.
Sure.
And on this channel, you see Johnny Dell breaking down the actual decision-making. That was one of probably the best for a third string rookie quarterback in the history
100%.
of the game. And I'm really meaning that, right? No one has processed the game the way a third string backup rookie quarterback has done in the history of the game.
Mhm.
Now, is he going to get worse or is
No.
he going to get better on that? So that's one thing, right?
Yep.
And then two, you're asking us to be patient. However, we traded down and gave away quite a bit. So I don't want to be patient.
The patience comes in because I'm gonna go backwards. So the patience has to come in because you're dealing with a kid that's never run this system before. Whereas Brock Purdy has run this Kyle Shanahan type of system. I think Kyle Shanahan was trying to add extensions to his system by getting Trey Lance to learn it quickly and then doing some things that Trey Lance is capable of doing really well, which is reading the defenders and getting the ball down the field. That's what Trey Lance is probably more of a master at, opposed to checking it down, running this, throwing this screen, read it. That's what he's trying to process. On top of that, he hasn't played football. And so I get it. Traded up, he should be plugging and ready to go. But not every Trey Lance had the luxury of coming in because of Jimmy Garoppolo to actually sit and wait. It's almost like old school quarterbacks. It's almost like the Aaron Rodgers to the Brett Favre. It's almost like that, right? And they hated each other. But I feel like with Trey Lance, I don't mean it in a way to saying, guys, be patient. No, it's more like try to develop the fact that the kid is going to bring something different. But right now, they're trying to get him to learn. Then when you add in the fact that he had this arm fatigue thing, what if that was really a real thing and he couldn't throw the ball like we wanted him to throw the ball because his arm hurt? So like I'm thinking now, I'm like, dang, in hindsight, like, well, maybe he really couldn't throw the ball the way Kyle wanted him to. Maybe that's why Kyle was running him the way he was running him, and he was giving him more time to let that arm kind of like get, better. And so I don't know. I'm this is all me going off the cuss and trying to put 1+1 together. But when it comes to Trey Lance, there's something we haven't seen, and that's what we have to be patient. And we don't know if we'll see it. We just know that he's going to come out, he's going to compete, and he's going to be ready to go come May. We do know that Brock, according to his injury timeline, should not be ready by May. Therefore, Trey has the opportunity to come out and let the world know he's the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. So the competition is real, and I believe that they're going to breed one another to be the best. I love what Brock Purdy did. I think Brock Purdy will be a starting quarterback, and I think he can be the starting quarterback for the 49ers. It all depends on how the cards fall. So if Brock is healthy and he's ready to come back, but if Trey is healthy and he's doing well, what do? It's one of those conundrums. It's like, well, at least we got two good quarterbacks because God forbid something happens, Brock could come in and plug and play. And if Brock is starting, if something happens, I'd rather have Trey Lance backing up Brock than any one of those quarterbacks that we saw this year. So it's kind of like a win-win for the 49ers. I think we just need to fix the offensive line, but that's a whole nother topic.
For sure.
And
part of the question, because I probably forgot.
Well, let me jump in here a little bit because I when you talk about patience with the quarterback situation, Adam, you were kind of alluding that as fans, like you say, it's a high draft pick. We don't want to be patient. I think what you're really asking for is grace. Because
Not
and
patience.
and I think the two go hand in hand. Grace to understand that it will take patience to see the full potential, because we do live in a time, in a microwave generation, in a on-demand streaming generation, that and like you said it, Wayne, that this is almost the old school method of grooming a quarterback, of bringing a guy in, letting him sit and learn behind an established starter, and then plugging him in. That used to be the standard modus operandi in the NFL for a long time. It is only more in the last 15 years, as you're expecting guys to come in and be immediate plug and play guys. I remember when Peyton Manning went to the Colts, he threw 28 interceptions his rookie year. Okay. The Colts fans had to have grace on Peyton Manning. All right. And he was considered one of the most NFL ready quarterbacks coming out of college ever. Okay.
Yeah.
Not even that year, but ever. Okay. And so there is a line there, and we have to remember Trey Lance didn't play a lot in college. He's going to be going into this season having played what, like 7 games
That's
in
it, man.
in 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a long time to go. Imagine doing anything where you're expected to be one of the best people in the world to do this, not just do this well, but to be one of the best people in the world doing something, and you only get one real opportunity, just over one real opportunity per year, not even 2 opportunities per year on average. And that's what he was talking about with a little bit of the arm fatigue, was that to keep in that game, to try and keep in game shape the whole time, because it was constantly disrupted, constantly disrupted. It was constantly going out and working. This would be like an Olympic skier going out and training for the Olympics every single day for 3 years, because you don't know what's going on. And that's essentially what he was doing. If you went out there and you never had that rest season, you never had that down season, okay, I've finished the trials this year, we finished the Olympics, and then we're going to go into a 6-week rest, and then we're going to ramp up for training again. He never really had that, because it was always training for the next thing coming up. It was either rehabbing something that was happening or training for the next thing that was coming up, and you never knew when that was going to be. So he was constantly doing things like that. But when you look at Trey Lance as far as a quarterback, there are things that he is adjusting to the speed of the game. He's adjusting to how quickly those reads have to come out. It's not that I see him misidentifying things a lot, or that he doesn't understand what he's seeing. Is that the speed of the NFL game is different. And what do we mean by that? Well, when you look at college tape, oftentimes college quarterbacks have to make decisions when a defender is in their first 5 or 6 or 7 steps. Okay. In the NFL, it's going to be in their first 3 or 4 steps. So identifying what and we're talking like where the linebacker is going on his 3 steps, not the quarterback dropping 3 steps. Now that does happen, but like, you have to identify that guy's responsibility and where he is going within that responsibility very, very quickly. And that is something that takes guys time and live reps to get down. He has not had a lot of those. So this idea that if Trey Lance isn't here, and you put this on a short with Chris Sims, talking about how he wouldn't be surprised if Trey Lance wasn't even on the team this offseason. I think that is completely bogus. That is so far beyond reality. I don't even know how to engage with that properly. There is no way that Trey Lance is not on this team this year. There is absolutely no way. You have to. I don't know what kind of edibles he's taking to say things like that. Okay.
All right. Let's hypothetical, right? I want to play devil's advocate, because there's always a way. I don't think that the 49ers would be silly to trade Trey Lance, but there's always a way. If a team offered you this year a 1st-round pick and a next year's 2nd conditional pick to possibly be a 1st-round pick, that means you're getting back your 2 1st-round picks that you traded. Would you?
Well, so is there always a way? Is there a way to play pickup sticks with your butt cheeks? Yes.
Yes.
Do you want to do that? Is that the way we're going to play that game? No. Okay.
With his butt
I didn't
cheeks.
say that they would, but I'm just saying that there's a way. Look, if somebody makes the Niners an offer that they can't refuse, because at the end of the day, it does come back and results of business and finding ways to get return on your investment. And I hate to look at football players in that light, but that's what they are.
But it is absolutely
right. They're a commodity, and I mean, unless Marlon Brando is coming in, or somebody's putting a horse's head in John Lynch's bed, I don't see this happening. Okay, why? Well, look at what happened with the quarterback position this year.
Exactly.
There is a reason why we find out why Brock Purdy can win all these games straight, and why is this even a quarterback conversation? Because 2 quarterbacks got hurt for extended periods of time before Brock Purdy, and Brock Purdy might have the worst injury of all of them.
Do you really think it might be the worst?
Well, if you look at the timeline for recovery, I mean, Trey Lance is probably, you're talking September to till February. I mean,
right, because
we're looking at 5 months.
I take
5, 6 months
with the quarterback over an elbow injury any day. Now that I think,
right.
I don't mean that. I don't want anybody to be injured. Let me just make that clear.
Right. Of course.
But when you're talking a quarterback, they don't
use
their legs to run, right?
The same way, right?
That motion. Oh wow, I didn't even think about
it. And you also look at Trey Lance is probably going to take 6 months to be back to full strength. Trey Lance,
Jeez.
if he doesn't have that setback where they had to then go in and remove more hardware and stuff, which they figured was always a thing, he's probably at full speed, full go right now. Or, we're within the next couple weeks. You're talking 1, 2, 3, 5 months later.
Mhm.
Okay. So, that ankle injury is not as long of a recovery. Jimmy Garoppolo should be around full strength right now. Brock Purdy, we're talking 6 months to be back to full strength. His was the most severe injury. And what do we have the year before? You have Jimmy gets hurt 3 times. He's got the calf injury, and then he has the thumb injury, the avulsion fracture, and then he has the shoulder injury. Trey Lance has the broken finger in training camp, and then he has a sprained knee.
Yeah.
And then you go the year back before that with Jimmy Garoppolo with 2 severe high ankle sprains, one that
Yeah.
nearly required surgery. And you go then the year before that, and that's the only year that we didn't have a quarterback hurt. That was Jimmy Garoppolo. And the year before that, Jimmy Garoppolo's ACL. It's interesting because people have always said, and you can even look at 2020. Nick Mullins ended up having to have the same surgery that Brock Purdy is having this year because he got hurt. And Beathard, why did Jimmy Garoppolo even start in 2017? That was because Beathard got hurt. People have been looking at Kyle Shanahan. Is there something wrong with Kyle Shanahan? I'm not ready to say that yet. Because especially when you look at the overall injury problems we have on the team, I think there may be something going on with the strength and conditioning department. I know they overhauled that, but we've been looking at 9 straight years of being in the top 10 most injured teams. I mean,
like number 1.
So with all that saying, they drafted Trey Lance to be both insurance in 2021 and to be the future on a rookie contract. They were willing to spend a lot as backup insurance because they have learned that you have to have backup insurance at the quarterback position. They are not giving that up. They're not giving that up for a first-round pick. They're not giving it up for 2 first-round picks.
And it
They're
doesn't
not
make
go-
sense to do it, period, because at the end of
No.
the day, they're on their rookie contracts, and you need to maximize both of them as much as you can. If one outsells their contract and you can probably flip one at some point, right now is not the point. 49ers are trying to get and win a Super Bowl, and the only way they're going to do it is by keeping these pieces that they have. They need a quarterback. It doesn't necessarily say they need one quarterback. They might need 2 quarterbacks. They might need 2.5 quarterbacks, but they need quarterbacks.
Yeah, they may need a guy who can come in as another third stringer and at least play 2 quarters of football.
You know what I'm saying? They need a third guy. That's the real question. No more Trey Lance, Brock Purdy. They're on the team. Who's the next guy? That's the question.
Right. Who's the Nate Sudfeld of the group?
Exactly. Oh boy,
Yeah.
I wish we had Nate. I never thought I'd ever wanted to say that.
I was just going to say the same thing. Now, they may be changing that rule where you can have that emergency quarterback.
Yes,
Like,
they will.
cool, thanks. That really helps us now. But yeah, because it ruins the brand of the NFC Championship when you have Christian McCaffrey out here throwing reverses and like that's not no one's watching. And so
I
in
never
order to
thought
keep
about that.
people, yeah, they have to think about adding a quarterback to be available. And you can do that. You can grab someone from the Titans practice squad, throw him on your team. At least he can throw the ball, and at least the NFC Championship ratings won't go down. So one
Yeah.
last thing that I wanted to ask you guys. I'm excited that this is a little bit of a longer show because man, WayneBreezie's here, so we gotta
Appreciate
air
you.
out the room a little bit, and so we
Relax.
thank our listeners for sticking with us. So, but I want to get into Kubiak, man. Like he's
Yeah.
a name that people know, his last name, and a lot like last year I had that level of excitement when Lynn came on as an offensive guy to like kind of, okay, cool, yeah, this guy's got some notoriety. Are we thinking that's around the same thing, or what do you think, Wayne?
Interesting, right? His name rings a bell. So his name goes a long way. Let's just say he's connected. We'll keep that theme going, right? So he's part of the family. And when you think of Shanahan, you think of Kubiak. They just go hand in hand. And so his brother Clay's here, and now he's here. I'm not sure what his role is going to be. I think it's going to be maybe passing game coordinator, maybe some type of role like that. I think he's here because of his ties and connections to the family and what he can help bring to the offensive room. That's it. That's what he's here for. And I'm saying that to say this, the 49ers are currently without a center, and I hate to say this, but I like Garrett Bradbury, and maybe you can tie some type of connection and free agent Garrett Bradbury now that his coach is currently with the 49ers. So this might be something to look forward to or look into as you go down the road. But he's going to be some type of one of those official roles that Kyle Shanahan likes, because Kyle Shanahan likes this guy. Like he likes his guys. When he likes you, you get a good role. He likes Mike McDaniel so much he made him an offensive coordinator, and he moved from run game coordinator or something like that. He moved from it. So yeah, he'll fit into one of those roles, and then we'll see. He'll probably play that role for a year, and then all of a sudden the following year he'll move up again, and then he'll be head coach somewhere down the line.
Yeah,
like
maybe he'll hold the boombox because we need one of those.
We lost our boombox guy.
I was trying
man.
to apply. I'm trying to figure out how to apply. I'm going to go on LinkedIn and be like, hey, I'm your boombox guy. Like, you know what I mean? I can do that. I might not be able to do anything else, but I can definitely hold the bump box, and I can make sure that the tunes are bumping. And so we'll see what they say.
Yeah, I really like the Kubiak hire. I mean, there's just something that feels right about having the last names of Shanahan and Kubiak together. I mean, that's just for maybe fans who have come on the team more recently. If you're unaware, Gary Kubiak, who was Klint Kubiak's dad, worked for Kyle Shanahan's dad back in the 90s, with the 49ers in 94. And then he was his offensive coordinator while Mike Shanahan was with the Broncos. And then Gary Kubiak went to the Houston Texans. And that's where Kyle, then went and worked for Gary Kubiak. And, and so Kubiak and Shanahan, I mean, you're talking, these are two guys who have literally grown up in this offensive system. You want to find people that know this offensive system, you can find no one else better than somebody with the last name of Shanahan or Kubiak. And so, and not only that, but he seems to be a very bright guy. It's not just because he grew up in this. Okay. He's obviously knows what he's doing, knows what he's looking for. And the other advantage that gives is that Kyle Shanahan knows exactly what he's going to be really good at and what he can ask Kubiak to do. What we have to understand and remember about when game plans are put together, everybody, we kind of have this idea like the coach just sits down and he's going to watch the game film from the previous team and then put together a game plan off of that. It's always a collective effort. It's never just the head coach. It's never just these coordinators that you're talking. Position coaches are given, okay, watch these three guys, watch the front, okay, and watch what they do here, and watch the front on first down, watch the front on second down, watch the front on what we call rundown. So first and 10, second and medium and short, third and short, those sorts of things. And each person, it has to then comb through sections of things versus pressures, versus the other team. Kyle alluded to this during the season because we were obviously having the offensive struggles early in the year, and he was asked, why is that? And he flat out said, we've had a lot of coaching turnover on the team this year. And so understanding exactly what everybody's really good at and kind of splitting up the responsibilities has been something we're working through. And he made a mention, I can't remember who it was, about somebody being really, really good at making the PowerPoints for certain things. It's things like that we never think about as fans, because you just think about these guys, they watch this film, they poop out a really good game plan. Well, it takes knowing the guys on your staff and knowing what they're really good at, what they're really good at seeing, what they're not as good at seeing, and or where you're not as good at seeing, and you need somebody that you can trust that when they look at this, they're going to look at the exact same way that you are. They know what you're looking for. A guy like Kubiak coming on, Klint Kubiak, is that there's going to be an immediate comfort and confidence there of what he's seeing and how he's seeing it, and as it relates to this system. That is always really big. That's why Anthony Lynn was such a good fit, because, running back for Mike Shanahan, he knew what he's looking for in the run game. and so that's where I'm really excited about this. You're seeing our coaching staffs going through a lot of turnover. When you can get somebody who you don't have to have that 3-4 month or even 2 month kind of adjustment period as to what they're good at and what roles you can give them and responsibilities you can give them, this gives you an immediate leg up on that. And it's a really bright guy. And, so you get bonus on top of that. But just having somebody in the building who is very comfortable looking at things for the defense as it relates to this system, I can't stress that enough. That is a huge deal. So I love the Kubiak hire. I think it's something great. I mean, a Kubiak and Shanahan together, it's like chicken and dumplings, in the South. It's just they're just things that make you feel good and like they belong together.
I agree.
Yeah,
like Johnny Dell and WayneBreezie.
Man, it's perfect. Yeah, one thing I want to add to that is that when I coached high school basketball, my first year under the new coach that came in didn't go that well because I didn't know his offense that well. And the second and third year, you could see that he could count on me and the other assistants because we knew the wrinkles. It's not about knowing the offense. A chimpanzee knows the offense, but knowing the wrinkles. And so when you know, hey, this guy's lined up in the flat, okay, the wrinkle would be the crossfade, whatever it is. Well, now you have a guy that knows the crossfade right away. You don't have to worry about teaching it. And so I think that is a lot to what you guys are saying. I think that can be an X factor and a bit of a sigh of relief, an exhale. Coaches either will help you inhale, like, oh no, I got to show this guy what to do, or exhale, where now they are helping you in what you're doing. And so what I think is big for that is just that level of exhale. So I'm excited to see that. So I really appreciate you being on the show.
So Adam, are you saying that Klint Kubiak means that it gives Kyle the ability to not be waiting to exhale?
Yeah.
Old movie reference for everybody. Old movie reference. Wayne's looking at me like that was.
I don't know that movie, but
you don't know Waiting to Exhale?
I just didn't put it together because when your analogy was so spot on, all I could think about was this: Kyle Shanahan could sit back and just, and it's because he can trust the people. That's the difference. Expect these guys. Kubiak is a guy that he knows. Expect Kubiak allowing him to exhale. I think that was the perfect analogy. I don't know why I didn't get the movie reference. I'm not in movie mode.
You better ask your wife. You better ask your wife.
I watched the movie. My wife probably never even seen it because she's 9 years younger. I'm telling you, I know that movie. Why didn't I get that reference? I just didn't think Johnny was going to put that reference up.
Yeah, he did.
Way to exhale reference.
Well, he put it out there, man.
Freak. When I tell you that Johnny Dell is an Encyclopedia Britannica, he knows everything.
He truly
everything, bro. He knows the Nautilus. I don't even know what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna mess it up. He knows everything. He knows the machine parts on a submarine. He knows where the missiles have to go if the degree is off. I'm like, why do you know this? I don't know, but I'm glad you're on my team. That's the only thing that matters.
Right. You want that guy on your team, not off
Always.
it. Yeah. Why do you think I slid in his DMs, bro?
Hey, because he knows everything. Jeez.
I thought it was all about my dank memes, man.
Yeah. No. Dropping that knowledge. So, man, again, WayneBreezie, thank you so much. This has been one of the most funnest shows that I've been a part of with Johnny Dell, which either speaks to you or to him. I don't know.
I think I bring Johnny. When I'm with Johnny, for some reason, he can just relax and be him. So you have no idea how funny of a person he is until you get to know him when you're out eating. And then you're like, dude, you're a comedian too? You do that too? So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I love it. So in the show notes, guys, are all of WayneBreezie's contacts, way to subscribe. So make sure you click on those in the show notes. If you're listening on Spotify, they'll be in those show notes. On YouTube, they'll be right there in the notes as well, so that you don't have to memorize. I'm not going to make them say them all, because just look at the show notes. They're all in there. Make sure you follow, show him some love, because man, he's so lovable.
Thank you.
And again, thank you to Johnny Dell. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Take care of each other. And as always, go Niners.